Howdy, I'm going to talk about the CNC lathe course. Now we've been doing all Titan parts, and the Titan course is pretty good. The lathe parts are okay. Um, I would like you to do all of them. It's a good learning experience. As far as parts to make, I'm looking in the Creating Toolpaths for CNC Lathe Autodesk Design Academy course, and this is like a good beginner. It's not perfect though, I'll tell you that much. But like the 3-axis course, pretty good course. I'm going to go right into Fusion because I did download the models from the course, which are in the Autodesk Use School Assets. So right here it says Lathe Course. I'll have to check to see if they've uploaded any models. Let me, but I'll just take a sample here, week 1, or data sets. And I kind of just look at the parts here. Probably just want to learn how to do a simple lathe part. We'll do this one here, CNC Lathe 1. Alright, probably the first thing we want to do is at least have the basic Titan rocket library. Under Student Assets Uploads, we go to CAM Tools and get the rocket lathe tools. Alright, and you go into the assets and copy. When you open the file up, just copy and save it in your directory. So like this is out of the lathe course. And warnings, okay. I guess I'll just go over this now. It looks like I started to program it. So we're not designing. This is the design side. Pretty simple part. I'll do a quick inspect on size, like the big diameter. Says 1. Oh, I can't really tell what that says. Inspect that ring. I for inspect. 2-inch diameter. Okay, gives me a good idea. So in our CNC lathe, we would have to call this a chucking part. We can't not run bar stock. We'd have to cut off material, and we got to cut off extra to hold in the chuck. So as far as your setup goes, if we look at this, it's pretty simple part. I can even turn the sketches off. It's got a little chamfer radius, I can't tell. Inside here is always going to be radius. That's how hopefully lathe guys design it, unless they're putting threads there. It's a pretty simple part. So it's pretty much, I would treat this as rough, finish, cut off. 3 tools only needed for this. So we're going to go, I'm going to just save this as a copy. Save as, I can't save it in the assets. I'm going to save it in Pokey's directory. Oh no, I'm still in the assets. Tech, Pokey, new folder, lathe. Must have my cap lock on. Alright. Save. Okay. I'm going to, let's see, manufacture. Right. I'm going to delete all these things. Delete. 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 We have no setup, right? So up here we got milling, turning, additive, inspection, fabrication. That'd be sheet metal. So we're in turning. But if you happen to be here by accident, you hit new setup, and you end up with that, it's probably still in milling. So you can switch that on the fly. Turning or mill turn. Round part. So it always gives you a suggested size. And we have 2 setups there. Let me cancel. I'm going to delete. Alright, setup, new setup, turning, right? Z, or the orientation, this would be Z facing the front of the machine, and X would be actually facing up. So that's probably going to be our orientation, like that. Even though it doesn't quite line up with that. If I really want to, yeah, that would be good right there. X up, Z front. And I want it to align to the view cube. So it's identified the body, right? And it gives you some suggestions here. The material size. Let's look at that. So it says fixed size cylinder. I'm going to go to next increment up, like 2.25. All right. I like that material on the front. So I'm going to do offset from front and put an offset of like 0.025. Extra on the front, and I need some on the back. Let's see. Make it 4. And I'll have to estimate how much I'm going to clamp by. I'll just leave it at that for now. And I'll get the setup tab done. So I'll call this STC CNC. Oops. Oh, the caps lock was on. Right. Okay. Alright, so we got a basic setup done. So we're working out of the tool library, the cloud library, STC Rocket Lathe tools, right? So in here, this is turning tools. It says turning general, right? Boring bar, turning grooving, and threading. So pretty basic. I'll shut all those off. All right, so up here we have facing, roughing, finishing, and grooving, and then parting. And then we have drill cycles. And so on the lathe, it's going to be drill on center. Pretty basic. Also, some of the tutorials, the roughing and finishing were on the same tab. So you're going to have to read between the lines if it's like that. I always want to do facing first. So I'm going to go facing, and I got to go get a tool. I'll go to the Rocket library and see what I got there. And I'm going to do turning general, and I'll go with the tool. I'll go with the bigger one, tool 2. I'll go aluminum rough for feed and speed. So these machines run in feet per minute. So I'll just go through. These are presets. I got flood coolant. Use constant surface speed. That's going to run the G96 code. Even says right there in the highlight. And it's also known as CSS, constant surface speed. And it's going to run in surface feet per minute. So your feet per minute, that's all you need to run these things. And you want to put in maximum spindle speed. This is also known as a G50 command. So this is going to be a lathe chuck job. I'm going to make that 3500 max. And we're going to use feet per revolution. So you want to have both of these checked. And here's some suggestions. 8,000 cutting feet per revolution. So the lathe runs per revolution, which is like the chip load calculation. And you only have one tooth, so it's all you really need. Making these all the same would be fine. Geometry. This is kind of like how do you identify the part, where's the model, and are we offsetting? I would leave it just like that. Radii is equivalent to the heights command on a mill. So your lathe tool comes on the outside, and they got various rings if you want to think of it by height. The safest one is always used from stock out of diameter. So retract, and all these numbers will be referenced to stock. As long as you have the stock spelled out correctly. The inner radius is going to be where is the inside. I would leave all those alone. And then you got your turning tool. So you got multiple passes. Let's leave stock to leave. I want to leave 4 thousandths on the front because I want to treat this as roughing only. and linking. And all this I would just leave as is. Pretty simple, it just makes a face cut. Alright, so I'm going to go right to profile turning, right? This is going to be roughing, and I'm going to use the same tool. Flood coolant, outside profiling, orientation, feed and speeds are all set. You go with 3500, and if you get tired of doing that, you can do save as user default. Alright, same orientation we have. We're actually going to go along the part here. It identifies the profile. That's why that blue thing is in there. So model front is the beginning. What the heck is that? And model back. Typically I like to go further back than the model because of the lathe, because of the parting tool. So I might offset that. Let's see, wrong direction. I forget sometimes. I'll go 0.2. Hit OK. Let it calculate, and that doesn't work too bad. So that's actually roughing in steps, and it's actually trying to follow the profile there. I really don't like it to do that. I don't know how I can get it not to do that. I think if I gotta learn how to play with that, but that'll still work. Let's look at some settings. We got inner radius is outer radius. So this is where our heights commands. This is below. Let's see. Offset, no. Geometry, model back contact point. That's as far how far back we're going. Tool limit. So I can learn how to play with that one. We've got stock to leave, 10 and 10, right? Sharp corners, tolerance, maximum. So this is taking 40 thou cuts. This will be fine. And these are some other settings. Don't allow radial grooving. Let's try don't allow grooving. Okay. Ah, there's the solution right there. I would prefer that way. Look at that, I'm learning stuff all the time. So your settings up here are horizontal, yes. Front to back, yes. And don't allow grooving. And not using can cycles. Hit OK. So that'll pretty much take care of the roughing to get it close. I will simulate real quick. Move this out of the way. And press play, right? There it is. So I think for now I want you just to start playing with the models, and we're going to see which parts we can make. But if you go take all these parts, and this will be the beginning, so this will be the roughing part, and I'm going to add the finishing next. Okay, talk to you later.